Hello, everybody, and welcome to the channel. As you can probably see from the heading, this video is going to be all about OmniStudio, and we're here to explore the endless possibilities of this tool. But before we get started, a little introduction about myself. My name is Japleen Kaur, and I'm a Salesforce consultant based out of Canada. I am a 10x certified Salesforce professional and have been in the Salesforce ecosystem for almost 6 years now. I specialize in public sector solutions, grants management, sales, service, and experience cloud. The purpose of this video series or video tutorials is going to be all about OmniStudio. We'll be diving deeper into the nitty-gritties of OmniStudio and its various tools such as FlexCards, DataRaptors, IntegrationProcedures, OmniScripts, their best practices, and so on. I'm sure this is going to help you achieve all the customizations that your clients and their businesses needs with simple drag and drop capabilities of the OmniStudio tool, and of course save you from the hazards of coding. So without any further ado, let's get started and let's dive deeper into what the tool OmniStudio is all about. Okay, so finally, what OmniStudio is. OmniStudio is a powerful suite of configuration tools such as FlexCards, OmniScripts, DataRaptors, integration procedures, etc. With the help of these tools, you can easily create rich and branded customer and employee facing UIs and even integrate to their external systems. The best part about these tools are that everything you do is using declarative point and click tools, which involves zero to less coding. Not only developers, but also the functional folks who have zero prior coding experiences can create business specific processes in no time. You don't need to write HTML or CSS for your UI components because all of these things, all of your styling components can be easily done via point and click tools. You can configure your styling, etc. We are going to talk in detail in our upcoming sessions. Coming on, we have layers of OmniStudio. As you can see from the screen, we have three layers of OmniStudio. The first one is the digital experience layer, then we have the service management layer, and then we have the developer experience layer. Talking about the digital experience layer, it contains of FlexCards and OmniScripts. Digital experience is all about the front end or the UI specific components which are used by your customers or employees to interact with. They can be easily branded or styled as per your client's needs or client's branding requirements. Next up, we have service management. Service management layer is responsible for handling the data that you see on your UI, or basically the data that we see on our FlexCards or OmniScripts comes from the service management layer. We can create, read, update, transform data that resides within and outside Salesforce. It is nothing but a way for us to perform sockles and DMLs, play with the data around, and eventually show this data onto the digital experience layer. Next up, we have the developer experience layer. The developer experience layer is again used by the developers to move their OmniStudio components from one org to another org. When we work on client engagements, we have different orgs such as developer orgs, QA orgs, UAT orgs, or production orgs. The developers usually perform all of the development in their dev orgs. Now, in order to push their components to higher orgs where the testing is performed, or even to move their components after testing to the production environments, we need some tools to migrate the data or to not migrate or to basically deploy the components, and this is where the developer experience comes into picture. Let's dive deeper into each of these layers and see what they are comprised of. First up, we have the digital experience layer that contains FlexCards and OmniScripts. When it comes to displaying data, we have limited point and click configuration tools such as page layouts and lightning record pages. They have their further limitations, such as they display data that resides only in Salesforce and with the standard look and feel of Salesforce, right? So During your implementation, you might come across scenarios where you want to display data in a certain style, in a certain fashion. You want to display the related records in a certain way. And that is where FlexCards and OmniScripts come into picture with their biggest advantage of being highly configurable tools that involves zero coding. Now let's see what's the use case of FlexCards and OmniScripts. Let's take an example for this. Let's say your customer is calling your insurance agent. So you would need that as soon as that call comes in, the insurance agent should be able to see all the relevant information to the customer. Let's say, for example, their account information, household details, health policies, medical policies, open cases, claims submitted, etc. Now, since this involves displaying the data, we would be creating FlexCard for this. In the same scenario, let's say your customer is calling the insurance agent to either renew or upgrade the policy. Since this would involve some data modifications at the backend, we would be using OmniScripts for this. Also, when your agent is renewing the policy, we would like to show him a step-by-step procedure on how to do this. And this is again where we use OmniScript. In precise terms, if we want to display data, we create FlexCards. However, if we want to take some input from the end user, we create OmniScripts. Both FlexCards and OmniScript, since they're UI components, they can be easily accessible in record pages, home pages, app pages, etc. When these FlexCards and OmniScripts are created and saved, they're deployed as LWC or Lightning Web Components at the backend. They support responsive designs when they are viewed in tablets, desktops, mobiles, etc. They can be used to display conditional data based on certain conditions. When another thing is that we can also embed FlexCards into other FlexCards, basically create a parent-child hierarchy. We can also embed FlexCards into OmniScripts or your own LWC components. Another good thing of OmniScript is that it supports branching and conditional logic. You can also create your own error frameworks or your own error messaging, etc. Next, we have the service management layer. Service management layer consists of DataRaptors and integration procedures. DataRaptors can be categorized as extract, transform, and load. As the name suggests, extract is used when you want to retrieve some information or fetch some information from Salesforce. A simple use case can be that we want to fetch the customer's account information and its related cases. Next, we have transform. Transform is used when you want to manipulate the data within or outside Salesforce. For example, when you want to convert JSON to XML or vice versa. In our OmniScript, when we want to restructure the data or restructure the JSON, rename some of the fields, convert data into PDF, we would be using transform data raptor. Then we have load. Load is used to create or update records in one or multiple Salesforce objects. Hence, we can say that DataRaptors is very much similar to performing sockles and DMLs. Integration procedures, on the other hand, are used when we would want to call multiple actions in a single server call. It is very much similar to how we write Apex. Let's say, for example, we want to create a case, and at the same time, we would want to update the status of that case and send an email notification, right? Creating a case and updating the status of the case is possible via DataRaptor. But since we want to perform all these three things in one single transaction, that is, create the case, change the status of the case, let's say change the owner of the case, and send an email notification. Therefore, we would be writing an integration procedure for that. Also, sending of emails is not possible via DataRaptors, it is only possible via integration procedures. Next, we have the developer experience layer, which consists of the IDX BuildTool and IDX Workbench. The term IDX here stands for industry experience. These tools are used when we want to deploy our OmniStudio components or their related components from one sandbox to another or from sandbox to production. Now, when I say related components, it can be, for example, when you created an OmniScript, you have also written some dependent FlexCards or some DataRaptors or some integration procedures along with that OmniScript. Now, in order to deploy that OmniScript, when you use these tools would also allow you to deploy the related components along with that OmniScript. IDX Build Tool is a command line automated tool, while IDX Workbench is a desktop application. One good thing to know about this is that IDX Workbench is built on top of the IDX Build tool. Uh, I'll also give you one another example here. Uh, when we talk about a project, in a project life cycle, the developers, they commit their code to a version management system such as a Git repository. Now, once their code is in the repository, we would want that an automation should run, such as Jenkins, let's say, for example, which deploy these changes from the Git repository to the higher sandboxes or the production. This automation deployment can be done via the IDX build tool and the Salesforce CLI. Okay, so that was all about the introduction to OmniStudio and an overview of its tools. We are going to do hands-on practice or hands-on examples in our upcoming session, so stay tuned for that. Before we get started onto the further video tutorials, you would need to have your own OmniStudio developer org. The link will be mentioned in the description. Using this link, you can easily go and sign up your free Salesforce developer org that has OmniStudio installed in it. Some things to note here would be that as soon as you sign up, you won't be getting your org immediately. It would take you 30 minutes or so in order to get that org. It will have some preloaded components in it. Remember, if you have worked upon LWCs, we had the LWC recipes. So it's very much similar to that. You can see these components and you can use them as your reference. And last but not the least, this org expires in 180 days. So you will need to take a backup of every component that you create in this org. And you can easily do that, exporting the components and then re-importing it into your new org. We will see that in the upcoming videos. But this is an important point to note that so that you don't lose all your precious and important components that you have created. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much. Hope you like it. If yes, don't forget to subscribe.